Jai Sri Ram, friends. Welcome to Bharat Marg. We have Vinay Ji with us, the political analyst who dissects and bisects the Canadian, Indo-Canadian politics. And thank you for joining, Vinay Ji. What a fabulous G20 today, got over. But we have a lot more news we will discuss with Vinay Ji today. That is G20 in Delhi. Canadian PM Trudeau, the big loser. Okay, we will discuss about that. And PM Modi completely ignores Trudeau, and so do the G20 world leaders. We will talk about it, and it looks like Canadian PM absolutely giving up on diplomacy. A snub from India. Not only that, the G20 leaders proves it. Okay, let's discuss about it. But before going further, friends, please make sure to like the video, comment on the video, share the video. If you have any questions on this topic, friends, please make sure to ask, and Vinayji can answer it for you. And also, friends, if you didn't already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell to stay connected with us so that anytime we go live, and you can join. Also, friends, now you can get one dharmic message every day by sending a WhatsApp to +16479644790, the WhatsApp number. Okay, you send it and you can get connected with Sanatan Dharma. We answer all your questions and give you notification on all your functions and explain with explanation. Okay, again, welcome Vinay Ji. Thank you for joining Bharat Marg. And this is big thing. G20 Delhi. You see Trudeau getting snubbed in Italy. He went on to lecture about straight people, or whatever you call, right? LGBTQ, and all those things. And he gets snubbed. And this phrase is all. I'll just give you. See, this is how the whole G20 went. Canadian PM Justin Trudeau, the big loser. And to cap it all, this is what you have to see. Okay, Vinayji, this tweet is going viral. Okay, and this sums it all for you for your today's discussion. It says something when Justin Trudeau is the more hated in India than any Pakistani. Not only that, it worries Justin, but begins a well race biter he is. It just unveils how the race biter he is. This is the key to his election strategy. The question is this good for Canada? He didn't worry about any business. In fact, he closed the business discussion. He was moody, sitting in the corner, not part of anything. Even US didn't call him on the stage for the photo ops, etc. How do you see it? Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for for the invitation. I'm kind of extremely disappointed with Trudeau. He's representing uh, Canada, which is one of the most progressive countries, but he goes and makes a complete fool of himself in India. I mean, this is kind of going back to what is it? Was it 2018 that he went to India, the
Hmm.
previous visit, right? And he had made a fool of himself by putting on a sherwani and dancing with the Punjabi crowd and meeting the Bollywood stars and all that
and
stuff,
and having dinner with the Khalistani terrorist.
and having photo ops and dinners and all that with the Khalistani terrorists, and he was so badly snubbed that the Prime Minister of India did not even give him time at the time to meet with him. And then after 5 years, we thought he would have learned his lesson, and this time around, G20 is a very big platform where all the world leaders, most powerful countries of the world, the leaders of these countries, they come together and they congregate and they kind of discuss about how to create a new world order and stuff like that. But this man, he was so badly how do I say it, unprepared. Okay. And when he went there, he made a fool of himself. I feel sorry for this man, because unfortunately he is now a mere puppet in the hands of somebody else.
Jagmeet Singh. Okay, let me give you some of the big headlines today. Okay, that will give you a good base for you to talk about. Okay, because see, I don't feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for Canadians. They are they are missing out on the biggest business opportunities and other things which the whole world is grabbing, but he, because of his ego or stupidity or whatever you call, okay. But anyway, let me go through the some of the headlines. Okay, finally India called for mutual respect and trust in Indo-Canadian relationship. That's it. That's a statement for Canada. This is a new low in Indo-Canadian relationship. And after he gets down, he never got a hearing from Modi till the final hour. Okay, and now he is staying there as an unexpected, unwanted guest because of his airline problem. Okay.
Yeah. That was another disaster. Okay. Now
You see,
this man.
one second. I'll just give the sum it up for you. Okay,
Yeah.
Indo-Canadian ties have been severely affected. These are all the headlines from the top newspapers. Okay, Indo-Canadian ties have been severely affected by Trudeau's mollycoddling of Khalistani extremists under the garb of freedom of speech. The same guy who did whatever he did with the freedom truckers. Okay, like you said, this is the one what you said. This was his first visit to Bharat since the disastrous trip on February 2018, where he was snubbed royally by the Indian government for his links to the Khalistani terrorists. Okay, you see this. This is the thing. You know, at G20 summit, Canadian Prime Minister's performance at his high stake diplomatic forum was lackluster. Okay, these are all the things what you are hearing from the Trudeau. Body language excluded discomfort, especially when interacting with PM Modi. He did not have major bilateral meeting which any leader with any leader during the summit. All he put the, because he didn't want a carbon footprint, he took the big plane and went to Delhi and went there in a corner, sat and came back. That's a message, Vinayji.
Correct. No, this is yeah, you're right. I mean, like, there's so many things going on, floating around, right? So it's unfortunate. So let me start. I don't even know where to start. Okay, but let's start off with his expression about his freedom of speech and blah blah blah. So basically, Reuters reported that Indian Prime Minister Modi conveyed strong concerns about protests in Canada against India to Canadian Prime Minister, which included some threats to the Indian diplomatic officials as well. And that's a
Mhm.
serious concern, because under the diplomatic relationship, you got to make sure that every diplomatic official in any country has to be protected by the country that he or she is representing. So when diplomatic officials from India have taken residence in Canada for a short while, it's the bound duty of the Canadian government to protect the Indian diplomatic officials.
But
Okay.
if he protects, he won't get the Khalistani terrorist votes. Means you go to the international forum and still talk for extremism in your country. Come on, what?
No, but this is what it is. I mean, these guys openly threatened, and he did not even have any comment to make, because his problem is he's a puppet in the hands of Jagmeet Singh, who is actually supporting his government. Okay, you got to keep that in mind. Now, the problem is any word by this man against the Khalistanis or the Punjabi terrorists or whoever, right? Now, the problem is the immediately the Jagmeet Singh party, that is NDP, will withdraw support. Now that is going to rock his government, obviously, and his position as the prime minister. So obviously he's kind of, it's all playing politics, right? For him, more than any global relationship with the progressive countries, he wants to keep himself in power. That's all his agenda is. Now, if you recall, a few
Hmm.
months ago, there was a float in a parade in Canada depicting the 1984 assassination of Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi by her bodyguards, the Khalistani separatists. Okay, and this was unprecedented. Like nowhere in any part of the world you would show openly a prime minister of a country being assassinated on a float that is being roaming around in the streets of in Brampton, right, in Canada. So unfortunately, this man did not even make a single comment about it, and he did not even initiate any arrest or whatever, right? And the funny thing was, okay, the Indian statement was they're promoting secessionism, inciting violence against Indian diplomats, damaging diplomatic premises, and threatening the Indian community in Canada and their places of worship. There have been innumerable, hate crimes going on in Canada, where temples have been, Hindu temples have been, desecrated and vandalized. Okay, but the problem with Mr. Trudeau, he comes back with one single statement, and that is Canada will always defend freedom of expression, freedom of conscience, and peaceful protest.
Yeah,
Trudeau
and
said,
they took away money from everybody in the freedom truck.
exactly. And this is the man who brought in emergency for, when the freedom truckers were protesting peacefully in Ottawa. And this is the man who says this. And now he says, he doesn't want to rock the
Not,
boat.
not only him, Vinay Ji, not only him. Keep in mind, he and his boyfriend both
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
together brought the
Absolutely.
emergency.
Absolutely. So this is the unfortunate part. And now, obviously, this has all been a huge, impact on the relationship between Canada and India. So when Mr. Trudeau went there, like the funny thing was, like a lot of leaders who actually went to visit the Mahatma Gandhi's cremation site, Modi was embracing several politicians with a handhold. Okay, that included the Dutch Prime Minister, the US Prime Minister, the United Kingdom Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, the French President Emmanuel Macron. But Trudeau, when it was his turn, he shook hands, and he was the only leader to pull away from the longer handhold. He was so nervous to hold uh, the hand of Modi, who's one of the most powerful leaders in the world today. He was like shaken. Basically, he was like nervous. I don't know. He was crapping in his pants or whatever. I'm not sure. And asked about the exchange, Trudeau suggests that people could read into it whatever they wish. And then the funny thing was, this is the irony of thing. Trudeau skipped Modi's leaders dinner the night before. Okay. He did not attend the dinner, the G20 dinner, which was hosted for all the world leaders, with the Prime Minister's office refusing to say why. And he also missed the launch of the Global Biofuels Alliance, a partnership to make progress on rolling out cleaner, greener fuels. Like if you know, there's also partnership between Saudi Arabia, the European Union, and the United States. But Canada was conveniently left out of that. Okay, so this is what's going on with this man.
Nowhere in photo op. Nowhere in photo op.
Nowhere in photo op, he was just missing, and
Not even in the big the trade corridor that has been announced between Saudi Arabia,
that's exactly what
Bharat,
I said.
and
Yeah, the trade corridor,
Europe.
exactly. Yeah, so that he is
Rail
missing in action.
corridor. Right?
Yeah. And now the irony is, the poor man, I feel sad for him. He went to the G20 convention because he's divorced now, and so obviously his wife didn't go with him. So he went with a 16-year-old son. So there you go. So this is
Yeah.
the
Next,
unfortunate
next
part.
Trudeau in line to become the protector of democracy.
And he claims to be the protector of democracy. He claims to be the protector
Yeah,
of democracy. Like
yeah.
when
But
world
anyway,
leaders are there. And the other thing was he made a big deal about, India not categorically kind of making a big deal about the Ukraine-Russia war and condemning the Russian government, right, the Putin and whatever. And he came out and he said, "Oh, the Trudeau openly condemned Moscow for its illegal invasion of Ukraine, and it is not. This is people like Putin mistake being reasonable for being weak. He is dead wrong, and Canada will continue to support Ukraine with whatever it takes, as long as it takes." Man, who respects you? Like, you're a goner. Nobody respects you anymore.
mean, today Saudi Arabia is, see, it's a complete blabber. Unbelievable. See, in the press conference after the meeting, armed, he used to again and again climate change, gender, and what we call the buzzwords, Ukraine war. He was subjecting to sign the memorandum that Delhi, this thing, for what do you call that? The Everybody together they signed the memorandum, and
Right.
guess what, it was what is that?
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, it was said that America pulled his ears and said, hey baby, sign here. That's how he ended up signing it, which condemned. He was saying Ukraine, but there was no condemnation of Ukraine there.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. The focus of the G20 was far beyond the Ukraine war. Yes, Ukraine war has impacted the economy everywhere, but the agenda of G20 is not to look at the. They don't have a myopic vision. Okay, their vision is long term. Okay, so they
And
want to
more
see.
economic oriented.
Exactly. They're more economic oriented, and how we can develop the thing. For example, the India Middle East corridor, right? That's the declaration on biofuels. Trudeau was not even present at the announcement of that. Okay, this is the unfortunate part, and so this man is become a disgrace to the country and to Canada. And I think it's high time he just either resigns and says, you know what, that's it. I'm done with politics. I'm going to go back to teaching drama.
Yeah, and he can hand it over like his dad did the fantastic democracy of Canada to his son, maybe, and give his throne to him.
Yeah, unfortunately, the boy is only 16 years old, so he's got a long ways to go. And
Yeah, he can become a drama teacher for some
yeah,
time and
I
come
mean it's
back
it's the
probably.
same thing as people talk about dynastic politics in India, right? It's the same thing. Like what is different here? It's dynastic politics. I mean, there's a kingmaker who has brought him into the forefront and made him a prime minister. But does he actually fit the shoes? He does not fit the shoes. He does not fit the shoes.
But
Unfortunately.
he was a very good drama teacher, I was told, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's how
Extremely good drama teacher, and the guy actually put on human, to make it
blackface.
realistic. He painted his face black and pretended to be a part of the black community and all that. In when he was a drama teacher, so he's done a lot of good stuff in the past. Things like that.
See, see here, he has been invited. He goes there. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau finally gets a meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the
Exactly.
final hours of G20. And not only that, he was taught, he was lessoned on how the worship place has to be protected. It's a responsibility of the government to protect the worship places. He was taught he was given a lesson there. You know, what do you think about that?
No,
You're
you
the
know what
prime
the
minister going there, and they are lecturing you on how the worship places are unsafe in Canada and why it is your responsibility to take care of them.
the funny thing was, like, despite asking for, I mean, Modi was extremely busy with the other world leaders who he really, I mean, who really mean a lot. Okay, whether it's the United Kingdom prime minister, or the president of the United States, or the president of Brazil, or representatives from even he was interacting with Bangladesh prime minister Hasina, and they have an extremely good relationship actually, and but the irony was Mr. Trudeau was completely sidelined, and for some reason, I think the PMO office from Canada approached the PMO office in India, and they said, "Hey guys, it's going to be an insult, or it won't look good. So can you give us an interview with Modi?" So they kind of arranged a last minute 20-minute meeting with Modi, and things were discussed, but obviously Modi expressed his feelings
And
about
give him lesson.
about the Canadian government's reaction with and all the things that are going on about what I already talked about, the Khalistani, the Hindu hate crime, and desecration and vandalism of Hindu temples and stuff like that. But no big reaction from him. His thing is freedom of expression. That's it.
Like truckers freedom rally.
Exactly. And the grand finale for all of this, man, I tell you, this guy's luck is not on his side. Okay. So he he decides to leave India with a bad taste in his mouth, and when he's about to get ready to board the flight, he gets a call and say, sorry, the airplane is not working, it's some technical snag. And so
Uh,
so I heard a comment from a Canadian from actually a Canadian economist, and he
mhm.
said, Trudeau government has in the last year, I mean last several years, has not spent the amount of money that they should be spending on defense, for example, on their
They are spending on defense, but not in their own defense. They are spending it on Ukraine.
yeah, I mean, whatever. Those are all donations, right? Whatever is secondhand used by Canadian forces, they are going to, Ukraine. And I'll be honest with you, this is not some brand new stuff that comes for Canadian forces that are going to be sent to things that are being pretty much, abandoned, or things that are give a, pretty much used by the Canadian forces are now going to Ukraine. So they're not new stuff. Okay, number one. Number two, the man has not spent on Rideau Place, which is the Prime Minister's residence in Ottawa, and it's pretty much falling apart. Okay, they have not done the repairs that it needs. Number three, the aircraft that is meant for the Prime Minister of Canada, it has gone through been through several technical snags in the last few years, and nobody has bothered to repair it. It's all been band-aid, and they've not even bothered to actually invest in a new aircraft. Come on, it's the security of the Prime Minister of the country, and they don't bother. And this man spends millions of dollars on bringing in refugees, and after 1 year he abandons them. He says, all right,
But
bye
but
bye.
but we are, our time is up. One last question. You please answer this, and we will call it a day. Okay, that is how do you see all the companies or all the countries are competing with Bharat to get their business to be on the right side of them, to get the economical engine going right from US. They had to compromise on Ukraine. It was a big tight slap for the West, which they took to get a good relationship on. Okay, how do you see a Canadian PM ignoring the biggest market in the world, biggest growing economy in the world, for his personal ego and not putting the Canadians first? How do you see that? Last word.
Well, ahead of the G20 summit meeting, we heard Canada has paused the talks with India for a trade agreement. Commerce and Industry Ministry officials said that the move would enable the two sides to take stock of progress and then kind of have a little bit of a lull in their discussions and kind of a pause in their discussions. And then they will decide by mutual agreement when negotiations would resume. So this is the unfortunate part for Canada, because Canada is not economically and it's not as big as India. Okay, let's get the facts straight. Okay, it is in the developed world for whatever reason. However, the India is the fifth most powerful country in the world today, economically. All right. Now you got to keep that in mind. Canada is not there. It's not even 1 in 10. So unfortunately, but the thing is,
And Bharat is sending Chandrayaan to moon, and here the Prime Minister plane is not taking on.
exactly. I mean, this is the unfortunate part. I mean, I should put a cartoon out somewhere for maybe New York Times or something. Maybe I should send one where a bullock is pulling the Canadian Prime Minister's airplane. So we could have that as a cartoon. Now the funny thing is, this man has put all the trade discussions on hold, and because I mean, there's the thing is, there's no consensus there. I mean, India has basically categorically said that, you know what, first get your act straightened out. Okay, first get your act cleaned up in your country. Make sure that, you know what, our Indians who live in your country are treated properly. The Hindus are treated properly. The Hindu temples are given proper security and stuff like that. Indian diplomats who live in your country are given proper security and all that. And then we can talk about trade and stuff like that. But Mr. Trudeau, obviously, he's all enamored by Mr. Jagmeet Singh. So and there's a huge love loss between them. And obviously, he said, no, 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 I can't let down Mr. Jagmeet Singh. So that's the reason I don't care about you. But guess what? It's going to have a huge impact in the long term.
Absolutely. My last word, folks. Thank you, Vinay Ji. My last word is very simple. G20 Delhi, the Canadian PM, the Justin Trudeau big loser says the headline. But my last word and the question is, the big loser is Justin Trudeau or the people of Canada? Okay. Thank you, Vinay Ji. Appreciate it. You joining us and sharing your wisdom. Thank you. Jai Sri Krishna.
Jai Shri
Jai
Krishna.
Jai Sri Ram. Jai Jai Sri Ram.